Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Pixel Pushers Show, where we connect creative minds shaping the future of gaming. Jake and I and Dilmer, the whole reason we started this show was feel like not a love is given to VR and UGC creators. So we want to bring them on the show and basically show how awesome they are. We want to hear their stories, hear their journey, and just know more about them. Myself, long-term gamer, love the UGC space, and I do think robots will take over one day.
Super intelligence is coming very soon. But what's up, everybody? Jake, I'm also a developer advocate at Meta. Also, hopefully, Future Sexiest Developer Live 2029, where we're going to work on it. We're going to get there. But I'm super hyped about today's guest, who is also hopefully a future Calvin Klein model, Mr. Jman Curley, is in the house. What's up,
yes,
dude?
sir. How's it going?
Good to have you here, man. It's, we came out of VidCon, just saw you at VidCon. Feels like yesterday, but that was, about a month ago. I think people are calling you the king of VidCon. No one was more hyped. We had like legends of YouTube, and now I think you're among those ranks because they were going around asking everybody during the Hall of Fame, who do you want to see? Who's here? You got all these great talents. And like, no, J-Man, I want J-Man. I want to see J-Man. And then, that was a trip. But you've really done, incredible stuff in terms of building out your community. You've expanded into music. We're going to talk about you expanded into, being a VR game producer and creator. But yeah, I mean, with Schmackle, and we're just excited to hear your story. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, guys. I think this is my first ever podcast appearance, and how incredible that it's with you two. So I'm so honored to be here, and congratulations on all your success and the launch of this podcast. It's fantastic.
Thanks, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. That's wild. We're making history.
This is history now. For sure.
This is history. 100%. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome, dude. So let's start at the beginning. And I think I've heard you talk about this like on your channel and stuff too. But I think for our audience, people maybe who don't know you or don't know you that well, and kind of how you got started, how you became the king of VidCon. Where did you how did you get your start in gaming, as a YouTuber? Take us back to the early days of Jman Curley.
Well, I love King of VidCon. I'm not letting that one go. I'm gonna add that to the resume now. But so
unofficial. We'll make it official.
Unofficial. Well, yeah, hopefully next year. So I've been playing video games for a super long time. I remember probably my first experience was playing Halo Reach.
Nice shirt.
On my friend's Xbox 360, and on my 10th birthday, my dad got me an Xbox 360, and I had played on the Wii a lot before that, just simple games and stuff. And I'd always loved just diving into the world of video games, and honestly, Halo especially. I'm the biggest Halo nerd. I have read through this encyclopedia front to back tons of times. I've traced the pages. I can recite any piece of lore from the wiki. So
did you watch the show, the Paramount show?
Don't get me started.
We're not talking about that.
I could write an essay about that show, but respect to the people who made it. But
I love that you have the encyclopedia. Like, I love the encyclopedia like right within hand's reach at all times.
Oh man,
it's always right there.
It's become an unhealthy obsession, but it's my guilty pleasure. It's just Halo. I love Halo. So I think my introduction to gaming was not so much just kind of quick multiplayer fun, but it was really diving into a world that existed, where the multiplayer existed within. You're playing 5v5 team deathmatch, you're playing the campaign, but there's a much larger story around it, and everything fit into the lore. So this storytelling aspect, I think, is what really drew me to Halo. So I was just a casual gamer. Then on the YouTube side, I've been making videos since I was like 8 years old, and I had an iPad with iMovie on it. So I would cut up little trailers with my stuffed animals, and just really early on, and probably my earliest aspiration was to be a YouTuber, because I had watched the OG guys like Jacksepticeye, Tobuscus, and PewDiePie, like the OG gamers, and I'd watch them play Valve games like Portal 2, Half-Life 2, and something about playing games and having people watch me was just the craziest idea. So I always made videos, and essentially no one watched my videos for the next 8 years except close family and friends. So it took me about 8 years to get to 450 subs, 500. Wow. It was a grind. And all of a sudden I'm in math class. Absolutely not interested. School was not my forte. I couldn't have cared less. And I don't say that in any way to anyone watching that school is not a good thing, because I think it definitely is. It just wasn't for me. Stay in school, pay attention to your teachers, and put in your effort, because I definitely didn't. I paid for it. But I'm in math class, definitely not paying attention, and I come across this game on Reddit called Gorilla Tag. It was 2 weeks old, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this out. I had been begging my dad for a quest, and when COVID was happening here, he was quarantined in a hotel, and I went downtown, and he fed me the quest box down the balcony so I could take it home and play. And so I played Gorilla Tag for the first time, and I realized, like, damn, I'm kind of good at this game. Like, I'm dominating lobbies back to back. And I made one video, which was how to be better, and that was the first time my video had gotten over 1,000 views, and the rest is history.
I have so many questions. Like, one,
shoot.
I love that you found a game on Reddit.
Yeah,
like,
I was a
I want to hear
Redditor.
that, because I'm always fascinated with, like, how do people hear about games? Because that's what, like, a lot of our audience is creators. So they're always like, how do we get noticed? How do we get our stuff out there? Do you tell me about sort of your journey on Reddit there?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been browsing Reddit for a while, just random stuff. I mean, it was my go-to time waster. I can't say I use it much now, because I feel like their policies have changed, and it's quite biased, I would say, just in terms of opinions and what actually gets shown. Anyways, I won't get into that, but I was using Reddit just for memes and stuff like that, and I was making a list on my computer of top quest games to play, and I still have that list. And it was Gorilla Tag, it was Beat Saber, it was, I don't know if it was on Quest, but like Space Pirate Trainer, just all these experiences I wanted to try, and Gorilla Tag just happened to pop up into my feed.
That's awesome. That journey, though, from, like, how'd you keep to your craft? Like, 8 years is a long time, and, like, what kept you motivated?
You know, I really didn't do it for views or any type of recognition. I was just addicted to the process of making videos. It was very cool to chop footage up, add music, and creating. Now there's something with emotional impact as soon as you put a piece of music on it. And I think I just was really addicted to getting better and improving, and I really didn't care who watched it.
You know, I find, to me, the evolution of, like, we'll call them developers, right? And we'll switch names of creators and developers, but I think the future of gaming is, like, you're actually probably 100% YouTuber, 100% developer. Like, and I'm starting to see that magic, right, in your content and the experiences you're putting out with your team and you yourself as a developer. Like, talk to me why that's so powerful, because I think more people need to hear that message.
What I've always described YouTube as is like an entrepreneur factory, because through creative expression, you build an audience, and that audience provides eternal freedom to venture into products, marketing, shows, selling anything, because you are branding yourself. It's the ultimate tool to build a personal brand. So YouTube is much more than a video sharing platform. I think it literally builds entrepreneurs and allows people to do so much. So gaming and YouTube go hand in hand. I would say probably the biggest thing on YouTube is gaming. And we're going to see more and more that the biggest games out there, and you've probably seen with a lot of Quest developers now, that they're all independent. They're all small teams. There's really not a big AAA presence in the VR, market.
No, that's a good point. Jake?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, so throughout, like, you were grinding for 8 years, which is, I think, longer than most people, especially these days, have the patience for. Right? I feel like most after like a month, 6 months, definitely a year, would, if their dream is to have millions of followers, millions of subscribers, have more people watching your content, they might give up. After that, I mean, Deepak kind of asked you a little bit about this, but like, what was there a point where you're like, obviously you love the craft and you love, getting people to watch you, but there must have been a point, kind of an inflection point, where you had a lot more people watching you. And when you start to notice, like, all right, I'm starting to do something right, or I'm going to lean into, something's working here. Like, what was that when did that happen where you wanted to really lean into it and make it full time and become Jman Curley, become like that brand, right? You've turned yourself into this brand.
For sure. I mean, my name was always Jman Curley. My dad helped me come up with that name. And like, to get to 500 was an 8-year-long journey. And I had put a challenge out saying, at 500 subs, I'm going to put out a poll. You guys decide what color I'm going to dye my hair. That was my first kind of audience interaction, involving the community. And I would say probably a week or two later, I'm at 2,000 subs. And as soon as I was able to, so luck is a combination of preparation and opportunity. So I had been preparing for 8 years. The moment the opportunity presented itself, which was Gorilla Tag, my entrance to a niche, all of the skills I had been working on were now applicable. So as soon as Gorilla Tag showed up and there was a group of other people out there playing the same game, my skills now were touching a lot of people. So the first few videos, like the first video was 1,000 views, and then it went up to 4K, and then right away I'm like, okay, I got to ride this wave. I remember watching one of my best friends now, Eric1515, another Gorilla Tag YouTuber, and I'm watching his videos get thousands of views, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to watch this guy become probably a famous YouTuber. And then I realized, like, well, why don't I give it a shot? And it was just building momentum, and I literally haven't stopped for 4 years just building on that momentum. So it's like you see one video pop off, and the way the YouTube algorithm works, it's like a big hungry monster. You feed it, and it gets hungrier, and you just keep feeding it. And the better your videos perform, the more the faucet opens. So immediately, I guess the grind nature was in me, and I was like, I got to take advantage of this momentum. And so I kept posting, and it was pretty surreal seeing that happen. But I think what I did right off the bat that really set me apart, because as you said, like, there's a lot of YouTubers out there, and there's a lot of YouTubers that are way bigger than me, like, and they're probably way better at YouTube too. But like,
no.
There's, we can all agree that they're way bigger YouTubers, and they were all at VidCon. But I would say that the pull that the Curly Gang has is really different, because from day one, probably my second or third video, I started a Discord. And one of the things I always imagined myself doing was talking to my fans all day, just messaging back and forth, talking to random people on the internet who like me, So starting the Discord from day one and talking every single day, and every video idea was one of their ideas. And every video idea was with my viewers. So it just created this snowball of Jman only makes videos with his viewers. Everyone has a chance to meet him or be a part of this journey, and we all want to see it grow together because he loves his fans. Like, that's what I think really made the difference.
Yeah, that engagement was really obvious at VidCon too. Just seeing everyone, the Curly Gang show up, all the yellow tape around everyone's chest. It was just so wild to see that like come out, right? You're so used to, I'm sure, right? Like, so used to just like talking to the camera. Right, and this wasn't your first VidCon, but like to show up in person, especially because you're across the ocean, you're over in Vietnam, and to come, stateside and see like all this huge community, thousands of them showing up with the yellow tape, especially after like an 8-year journey like that, grinding.
It was quite surreal. It's absolutely insane. Like it was bigger than last year, that's for sure. And I mean, the only time I really get to interact with fans is in the U.S. So it's quite isolating here. The benefits of being so far away is that there are 0 interruptions to my work. I wake up, I work a 9 to 5, and my work is extremely concentrated, and I get a lot done. But at the same time, it's like, okay, all my friends that were here went to university, so it's really me and Squoof, and we just grind every single day. So to get that feedback is like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Like, it's paying off when we can see the fans, I mean, there's like 1 or 2 kids in my hood here who say what's up sometimes, but like, it's absolutely surreal to see that happen. And it's just some type of energy that the vibrational frequency from the audience channels through me and then into a microphone. And I feel like harnessing that is a skill that I didn't know I possessed until I walked up on stage. So it's absolutely incredible, and I'm forever blessed and thankful for this incredible community that supports me every day, and I'm definitely going to be planning more stuff like that.
My ears are still ringing from when you guys did the first Curly Gang, when you had your Curly Gang show up with VMT and crew, like and Elliot, like that was I've been to concerts and stuff that was louder than like any concert I've ever been to. That was off the charts.
Thank you, sir.
That was not like, I feel like people heard it upstairs for sure, like in the upper floors of the Anaheim Convention Center. Like that was nuts. So that was super cool to see, and it's crazy. Like you've expanded too. Like you started with YouTube, you've been doing that. You've been expanding into music. You've got awesome tracks that you've put out. You've like becoming this like really multi-talented artist, and then you decide to Grill Tag's awesome, and you're still obviously like that's your core, but you wanted to put out your own title. So like, and then Schmackle came about. Tell us about Schmackle and like how that, like where the Proto Bro came from, and explain to the people of the world what a Proto Bro is. We'll put it up on the screen for people to see it, especially the 20-foot tall one that made its appearance at VidCon, or however tall that. I think it was massive.
Yes, sir.
But like now you're a VR producer, you're a VR developer. The Schmackle story. Where
the Schmackleverse. I mean,
the Schmackleverse. I love it.
I remember walking in Canada when I was living there for a bit, and I get on a call with Squoof, who is my operations manager, and he was on the call, Thomas, and I'm calling him, and I'm like, bro, we got to make a game. My experience with games that I was playing at the time for videos was that the creators that were pretty much were a very large part of the game's success were not getting the recognition that I thought they had deserved. Now, in no way am I saying that creators should play games seeking recognition or some type of reimbursement for their contributions. But when I see kids dedicating hours of their time, putting in creative work into a game, and I don't see the same type of love reciprocated, it doesn't feel right to me. And that was really the core of it all, was that the games that I was playing were not valuing their creators. And I thought, like, look at Fortnite. Like, where would Fortnite be if there was no YouTube, if there were no YouTubers? Or GTA 5. Like, the creators carry the games because they make things fun in the games, and then they inspire other kids to either make videos or do what they're doing in the game. So if I'm playing tag or hide and seek, all the kids are going to go play hide and seek. So the influence is insane. And I believe that it's the game's role to not only update their game, but then also deeply interact with their viewers. So I'm telling Thomas, I'm like, bro, we got to make a game, because we have to be the game that cares about their creators the most. We have to be relentless. And so the Schmackle's entire North Star, our #1 company value, is like, we produce for the community only, and we don't make a single decision without checking the box, is this right for the community? And my #1 goal with this game is to build YouTubers. I want kids to be making videos at home, making money off their laptops online, because not only do they find friends, lifelong friends, and find passion and drive through producing these creative works of art, but they also find financial freedom. And you don't have to go work at a job you're not comfortable with, or go to 4 years of schooling if it's not something you're passionate about. Now, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a doctor, I think you should definitely go to university. I ain't getting no surgery from a doctor that didn't go to university.
I highly recommend you go to medical school if you want to be a doctor.
Go to medical school, go get your degree.
That's overrated.
Like someone like myself, like I was going to go into film. I applied to probably 14 different film schools, universities in Canada. I got rejected from every single one, and it just wasn't for me. So being able to find a path through YouTube to where now I know exactly what I want to do. I want to provide that for other kids through my game. So that's really the basis of it. It was, I want to make a game that interacts with their community more than anyone else, that helps kids become YouTubers.
That resonates with me a lot. I've recently heard, like, on another YouTube show that, community developers, right? People who work for the games and work in the community, she was saying, like, they're the most important. They don't get treated like that, but they're most important because you're interacting with the people that actually play, that experience the game, the product. But I think you understand that, right? And built your ecosystem around that thesis that community matters the most. So like how, and I love how you're trying to bring that into YouTube, right? Like, but how do you balance that doing the sort of the YouTube audience and then also the people who play the game as well?
Well, you know, I definitely got a lot busier in the last year. I mean, it's been insane. I have a totally newfound respect for game developers. I want to make it totally clear. I have zero coding experience. I think I can do Hello World in Python, if that, even at that. But, you know, the point is to integrate both to where my videos are about Schmackle. The players go play Schmackle. What they do results in more videos for me to make and more updates for the game. I think one of the challenges going into it is, well, I think there's a lot of challenges. Within the next 6 months, Schmackle is going through a transformational process that will elevate it, I think, above pretty much every game on the store. And I won't go too much into detail because I want to really surprise the fans. But in the beginning, I have no idea how to make a game. I've never made a game before. I don't even know who to talk to. I don't even know who to hire. So the entire process, I've been learning. I've been doing it probably the hardest way possible with zero outside influence, like serious trial and error, you know, hiring the wrong people, making the wrong decisions, making all the mistakes and learning about them after putting all the time and money into it. So the first development phase of Schmackle was, okay, how the heck do we even make a game? The second phase was, let's get this game to production level and release it. And now the third phase is, let's get this game up to standard and then better than the other games out there. So that's really our focus. But I would say once that criteria is hit, the videos and the YouTube side and the Schmackle side are one. They constantly feed into each other. And all creators of Schmackle will either get shouted out in the videos or in the game itself, and the community will continue to feed both facets.
That's huge and really important, and you know, I vibe with that as well. You know, having worked on Animal Company, you know, before I came to Meta, that was, you know, a huge part of it as well. And I think what has driven a lot of the success was we were always very, like, we built that game focused on the, you know, making a viral game, which meant kind of what you said is how do we really turn the players into creators and allow them to take the content from the game, you know, use it to, you know, make skits or make any kind of content with it. And it inherently, you know, does well on social because it's the content, the avatars, whatever it is so hilarious. Is so, you know, it just does so well on YouTube and TikTok like that. Yeah. That's what we focused on. We focused on the, you know, the small creators too. Like we started our drip department program, which was our, you know, the equivalent of the Gorilla Tag fingerprinter program. And honestly, the way we described it to creators and stuff and to the community is to your credit, we said we want to make the next Jman Curley from
for sure, 100%.
That's because that's how you build things up when they feel invested in the game in that way. In that it's a tool in their tool belt, right? Like just like you use Photoshop or you use, you know, Premiere or whatever it is you're using to edit videos. Now VR, whether it's Schmackle or Animal Company or Gorilla Tag or whatever you know title it is, that's your soundstage to make content.
And how rewarding that the game you're making content on is responding and encouraging.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that you've done great, you know, as well as putting yourself at the center of it. You didn't just put out a game and say like, hey, go buy my $30 game. I'm trying to make like a quick buck off of this thing, like off of my like 4 million subscribers. Like, no, you go and you play like, and you've done videos showing like you're interacting with the fans, you're playing with them, you're listening to that feedback, you've got the Discord and you're putting things back into the game itself. So in that way, it's really, you know, a UGC game. You know, not like a Roblox or Horizon Worlds or a Fortnite or something in that sense, but there's the video content that's being made is user generated. The assets and the stuff that you're putting it, maybe you're developing and putting into the game comes in because of the feedback from the community. So it's essentially user generated. The ideas are user generated.
For sure. I mean, we had you know, this kid's hamster died, and he sends me a text on X, and he's like, "Bro, my hamster named Hamper died, and please put him in your game." So we built a shrine around this hamster, R.I.P. Hamper, the real one. So we put a shrine in the game, and then I got thousands of messages. J-Man, my dog died, my cat died, my squirrel died. Like, everyone's pet was dying, apparently. And so to honor them all, we made this one animal called Bweeb, and he's a combination of all the animals. So he's like a half hamster, bird, bug, lizard thing. And anyways, I put him in a blender. He's gone now. But, you're definitely right. Like, influeing the game as a community.
I think the thing, like, is this was for you, Jake, like, the thing you guys have sort of tapped on, like, from your careers is, like, I've seen you, and you talked about it, J-Man, like, emergent gameplay, socially emergent gameplay. And I don't, technically I see it a lot now, but, like, I don't think mainstream gaming understands how powerful that is. And, like, J-Man, you saw it in Gorilla Tag, you're making it in Schmackle. Jake, you were at Animal Company. Like, it's totally based on that thesis. And Fortnite and Roblox, that's what I kept seeing, right? Is like that emergent gameplay. Like, talk about how powerful that type of gameplay is, because I don't think enough people understand that, like, those are the things that create stories.
Yes, for sure. Well, to give credit to Animal Company, I think you guys absolutely killed it. It's like the philosophy almost comes from, like, if you were standing in a white room, how could you still have fun with your friend? Is the character funny? Is he funny looking? Not only does that help on the social media side, but, you're laughing.
Yeah, with Animal Company, that was, the thesis for the game at the beginning was, like, really simple. It's the guerrilla tech movement meets, like, the Lethal Company kind of, gameplay. And the original environment was, fairly simple, especially compared to what it is today, a year later. And the focus really was, in terms of, like, the viral content, was how do we make, the avatars just, like, hilarious. So we knew, since, like, horror and the jump scares were a big part of it, we wanted, like, the face to be, like, hilarious. So, like, when you scream, the mouth opens, the eyes go wide, and, like, people just love that, and they thought it was hilarious. And that's some of the early stuff that went viral on TikTok and YouTube, was just, like, these facial animations, or players, like, discovering it and be like, what the heck? That's, like, especially if they're used to Gorilla Tag, or they're used to other, avatars in other games, which are fairly static faces and stuff like that. Because we're, we don't have the full face tracking. We have the Quest Pro, but, it's not a widespread thing. So how do we still have those facial, animations without, for sure, full face tracking? And then just to put the cherry on top, we made the butts really bouncy, just because because why not? Because you could. And those two things combined, were, I think, some of the stuff that really got things to take off at the beginning. Yeah, like you said, if you put it would still be hilarious if they were just in an empty white room and players were just screaming at each other. And
being in VR adds a totally different layer to the whole thing. Like, you're looking at them in front of you. So it's like, I don't think the world understands, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, but VR is a totally different medium. I am such an advocate for this technology. I think it's going to be bigger than anything we've ever used. And I'm so curious on, this is a whole other conversation, but, like, Meta's direction with VR. And, as someone who's been invested in the technology for a while, and as an investor in Meta themselves, I'm so curious what the future of it looks like. Like, Meta, it has two directions they could go in. The Ray-Bans are selling so well, and there's now this everyday use piece of wearable tech. And on the other hand, there is this immersion gaming experience with closed mask VR. And, to see them launch, like, the Quest Pro and then that kind of Xbox collab, I feel like focus should be put into two paths. One is to create the best everyday wearable AR, XR pair of glasses that is basically a phone on your face, which I will be a very early adopter of because I've always wanted that kind of technology. And the second path is creating the best VR gaming experiences to where you're totally immersed. And so I'm so excited for the future of Quest and what's going on, but I just want to know, like, when's the Quest 4 coming? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Quest 4 is coming on. I'm not going to say. What? A, because I don't know. B, because I can't tell you. Of course. Or in reverse order. But no, I think that's a great question. And I think, I've been in the space a long time. Deepak, you've been in the space a long time as well. I've also been really passionate about XR. Started back, just a little history of myself, starting back with Google Glass like 13 years ago. Like, really, and like the DK1 and the Quest 1 and the Quest Go, or the Oculus Go, excuse me. So really going back. So totally agree with you
on that point. And I think our approach, and Mark's talked about this, a lot over the years, is the dream is ultimately one device, like this, the things like the Orion and other devices like that, where you're ultimately wearing one pair of glasses, one headset. But to get there is a journey, right? So what you're looking at happen is really been part of the plan all along. If you look back to F8, the Oculus / Facebook developers conference a number of years ago, which is now Meta Connect, the plan has always been and this is something that I've always been excited about with Meta. And one of the reasons why I joined earlier this year is because of this direction. It isn't to, and this is a mistake that other companies have made, isn't to try and get right to those pair of glasses right off the bat and build for a singular device, try and figure out the optics and the weight and everything that goes into making a good pair of glasses. You have to come at it from two different perspectives. On the one side, you have the technology perspective. How do we technically, and according to the laws of physics, fit all the technology that's needed into a pair of glasses, the batteries, the optics, the cameras, the sensors, everything you need to give you that full experience that's lightweight, that's comfortable to wear, all day or for many or multiple hours. That's really complicated to do because you're limited into, it's not like you can people aren't going to want to wear a backpack or other types of things. Mm-hmm. Right. So how do you have to figure out the technology on one end, and then on the other end of the spectrum is the people factor. How do you get people and humanity like coming to basically comfortable with putting a device on their face that does all these different things. But societally, right, we experienced this with Google Glass 13 years ago, cameras on your face, walking around, or a computer on your face. How do you get people comfortable with that concept? So on the one hand, there's a ton of brilliant, thousands of people at Meta and other companies, that we're not the only ones working on this, figuring out how to get the technology into that form factor. On the other side, there's the the culture side of things. So how do you get these devices integrated into the culture where people are excited to wear them? They see their friends wearing them. They see celebrities wearing them, not just because they look cool, because there's actually there's a benefit to wearing them. Wearing this device makes my life better in some way. So that's what you're seeing with the Ray-Bans, right? They're obviously, our partnership with EssilorLuxottica has been incredible because they own, I think it's like 80% of the glasses market. Almost any glasses brand you can think of, right? We just announced the Oakleys, and we have the Ray-Bans, and there's tons of other brands that are out there. They're already in with the culture. People wear those, they love wearing them because they look great. And now we're coming in as a technology partner and fitting in kind of, I would call basic technology in the span of where this technology is going to go. Basic technology, right? We're figuring out how to fit a battery in there where it's still comfortable, a camera in there, and that's all and speakers, right? And that's where it starts. And then eventually you start to break down those barriers on the technology side. It's like, all right, we're figuring out the optics. How do we fit maybe a small screen? And then the screen gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually it becomes, effectively like what a Quest is today, fully immersive. So you can go swap between, fully immersive and an augmented experience. So that's something that takes time.
Physically, you would need a light seal. Like, it needs to kind of cover around your eyes, but you also want to wear it every day. So is it like going to be a pair of goggles or like a ski mask? You know what I mean? But I totally hear what you're saying. And also there's kind of there's almost an invasion of privacy with it. Either the glasses are looking at my eyeballs all day, or they're looking out into the world all day. And, to have a camera in your face, like when you don't want it there or unexpectedly, that comes with a certain cultural acceptance too. Like, okay, I guess everyone can instantly record you. I mean, at least now you got to pull the phone out of your pocket, but as soon as it's like, boop, record, like everything will be captured. So, and like your retina data, I mean, to log into my Vision Pro, it scans my eyeball. I don't really like that, to be honest. Like until, I guess I warm up to it, I really see bigger use cases. But for this one device I barely use, Apple now has my eyeball fingerprint. You know what I mean? Yeah,
we're in the Minority Report phase of things already. And that's my point of, that's like the steps, right? Like eventually, or not eventually, but soon, and maybe even today, today for a lot of people, there's benefits to wearing these. And like people wear Apple Vision Pros, they wear Quests all day for like productivity and working and stuff like that. And like the benefit of like the eye scanning to log in really quickly. Today, that's the case today, but that was a learning, I think, from Google Glass. That device was really early in terms, in its lifespan and from a society perspective. And that's why we incorporated an LED ring in the Ray-Bans that turns on anytime you're taking a picture or recording, so people know that you're recording. That was a big learning from Google Glass, was you couldn't tell when it was recording. So these are like the little things, the little human factors, engineering points that we figure out over time. And something I call simple, like the Ray-Ban, to me it's simple. Obviously it takes a long time to figure out that from an engineering perspective, where it's just a camera, just a battery, just a speaker, in there's a lot from that we're learning today from culturally and how people are adopting it. And seeing we just put out our not to toot our own horn, but we put out our results just this week about how things are performing. And
it's insane.
Revenue has gone way up, and I think it was tripled from last year.
You guys need to keep going. I'm an investor.
Largely driven by Ray-Bans, and this is how you hit mass cultural acceptance. Yeah. Obviously, there's the incredible community, existing VR community, and a lot of it who've been around a long time, and a lot of this growing VR community, like the Gorilla Tag, Animal Company, Yeeps players that are going to be growing up with this technology.
Yes.
They're going to keep pushing the VR side of things, but then kind of the rest of everyone else who maybe isn't comfortable with that yet, or isn't quite there yet for whatever reason, they're hopefully adopting or getting more comfortable with Ray-Bans and AR glasses or smart glasses, AI glasses. And then before it's not going to be, we're not going to wake up one morning. I think this is something that this industry has maybe always kind of hoped for. There's been there's been other devices, HoloLens, where people hope like we're going to have this iPhone moment. We're going to wake up one morning and all of a sudden it's going to be Ready Player One, and everyone's going to be wearing these dream glasses. It's going to be gradual, and you're not even really going to notice it. It's going to be so slow. It's going to happen where you'll have like more and more people wearing Ray-Bans. I see it as I go out, more and more people wearing them, obviously. And then more and more in VR, you don't see as much because people, use those at home. So how do we bring that outside into the only exception being VidCon, where so many people were walking around with Quest headsets, like having them autographed and stuff like that was crazy.
I know. I mean, I think I've signed more Quest headsets than anything else. We got to get Zuck to one of these VidCons one time so he can see what's going on.
Absolutely. I'm pushing for next year for us to have more of a presence there. So whether the Zuck's there or not, we'll see. But
it's okay. Absolutely. As long as you're there, man, it's going to be perfect.
So I may not be famous, but I'm known.
Yeah, I totally hear you.
One of the things I heard you guys talk about, like that we don't get to talk about often, is like I love sci-fi, so I love the ethical debate about technology. Right. So I'd love Jman to hear like a little bit more about that. Like for me, like the digital, like I read comics and stuff like that, right? There's this one called Private Eye, where because people are scanning everything and people know people's identities, right? They all wear superhero masks. So everyone has an alias. So like, what is your sort of like, Jake loves this term, reading of the tea leaves of how society will sort of advance, not advance, as these types of technology get going more and more?
When it comes to opinions, especially online, whenever yours is deviating from what is the norm, whoever decides what that is, you are exposing yourself to be grilled, right? So I know people who, when I talk about kids using VR or the ethical implications of virtual reality and putting technology closer to our lives, not only physically but in the way we interact socially, they would say, this is horrible. Children are going to suffer, and it's so bad for your eyes and their development and this and that. And I feel like whenever I hear sort of the socially acceptable opinion that is widely accepted usually on the internet, I always look at it from the other side, because I feel like in many instances within recent history, that hasn't always been the right way of life. So there's a line with ethically how we can implement this technology into our lives. Like, there's the physical side, which is this good for your health? I mean, okay, wear a VR headset, I get a big red mark on my face, my eyes are close to a screen, there's strain. As a kid, there's risk in that sense. The other side of me is like, I want kids to play in Schmackle until their eyeballs fall out. You know what I mean? I'm exaggerating. But,
Sure, yeah.
you know, so had I not been exposed to technology, new technology, as it was coming out, I wouldn't be here today. My dad got me, well, he got himself the first iPod, and I snatched it from his hands, and I learned that machine inside and out. YouTube, everything. And I turned out okay. And I got to get my hands on all types of technology, and exposure to the world is not necessarily a bad thing. It's the culture you build within your household that teaches your children how to react to it and how to ingest it. So if I'm playing in a Call of Duty lobby as a young kid, we all know what a Call of lobby is like. Like, it's not a very friendly place, but the way you're raised determines, are you going to continue that behavior? Are you going to spread it? Or do you know that this is not for me, and you observe it and know how to be better from that point forward? So I think the same thing applies. It's like, I'm all for technology getting into the hands of children and getting closer to humans. Now, there are lines that have to be drawn in terms of, okay, where does my data go? What is my, like, I'll give you an example. You know, I use ChatGPT for everything. Medical questions, breaking down spiritual questions when I'm reading a book like The Power of Now, you know, about, you know, finding inner peace and you know, living in the moment at all times. Like, ChatGPT can break down so many things. At the same time, all of my data is now on this app, and my medical history. If I take a picture of my prescription, or, you know, how do I respond to this email and there's financial information in it, it gets a little scary. And so you have to ask, okay, what are the intentions of the people behind this technology? When it comes to VR and glasses, like, I don't think there's anything malicious going on, but am I going to absolutely launch myself into the technology as it gets really advanced? And I think AI is the real danger, not so much the physical side or the capabilities of the tech, because like, we can all envision, like, okay, if you wear a pair of glasses, you can record everything. It's going to scan your eyes. It's going to know a lot about you, and it may record when you don't want it to. So you can say, hey, what was I looking at an hour ago? It can bring up that information for you. That's the practical aspect. But AI is this ultimately intelligent life force, pretty much, that will forever learn about us and then become smarter than us. That's where my fear lies. Not so much on the physical, practical side, more on the super intelligent side.
And that's something we've talked about, you know, as becoming a focus for Meta. And I think, you know, we ourselves, you know, Deepak and I talk about, you know, aren't working on that specific, you know, platform technology, but I think the company as a whole understands and bears that burden. I asked a question this week internally, as a parent myself. We have a parents group, you know, inside of Meta, and
cool.
kind of ask the question too, like, what, you know, we talk about building this super intelligence, and we just launched the Meta Super Intelligence Labs this month. Just formed that new group. What does that mean for, like, the future of my son and the future of, like, our kids? And, you know, when, you know, you have this super intelligence that's, you know, is going to surpass, you know, human intelligence and capabilities and stuff like that. What does that mean, you know, for all different aspects of life, you know, education and socialization and all these different kinds of things. So I think, you know, we understand that, that concern and kind of bear that burden in a way. So I think, you know, there's hopefully take some comfort in that, I think Meta is, you know, is often seen as a big corporate company,
Yes.
black box, but now, you know, being inside and meeting so many other, you know, of our Meta mates, as we call ourselves and stuff like that, we all understand those concerns and have them for ourselves as well. So I think building it responsibly, in a responsible and ethical way, is how we're definitely going about it. So I think that's hopefully we can take some comfort in that. And
yes, most definitely.
And I think it's going to be a really exciting future is what I've kind of come out of this with. What that's going to be, even we don't fully understand. But it's going to be a changed world, I think, before we.
As long as we have an off button.
A big off button. Well, there's a reason why we didn't call it Skynet. There's a reason why we haven't called it Skynet.
I'm so happy you didn't call it that. No. Yeah, for sure.
As long as we keep saying there's a line in the sand, I like Jamie, I like that line, right? The moment we say there's no line, I think that's where things get dangerous.
Yeah, for any company.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you don't keep advancing, you don't keep trying new tech and stuff, but yeah, for any company, it's just acknowledging that. I think that's powerful in itself.
Yeah. Asking those questions and being aware of them as the technology is being built, I think is extremely important in what the team is doing.
Yes.
Maybe we do this at the end, but I want to make sure that J-Man, we get a Riz face from you. I think the team. Hey, we haven't talked about the Proto Bro. We didn't talk about the Proto Bro.
I got to tell you about the lore.
Yeah, let's end on the lore of the Proto Bro.
You might have to give context because a lot of people won't know, even though a lot of people know.
They'll know.
I'll try to give a easy to understand synopsis because lore is my forte, and there's so much the world is not ready for. I want to reiterate that Schmackle is a baby. We're at the earliest stages, and I'm so happy that everything's been documented, including our struggles, because the community can see where we came from and they're a part of the journey. So I just want to say that within the next 6 months, there's going to be a serious transformation, and I'm so excited for what the game has to offer. But essentially, the Proto Bro is Schmackle Inc.'s latest product. It's not publicly available, but it's a humanoid robot without legs. It's extremely powerful. It's used for everyday tasks. It's used for combat operations, and they are super intelligent, running off of GERT fluid. GERT is liquid human consciousness that doubles as a power source. So Proto Bros are either remotely controlled or their human consciousness uploaded either from deceased people or duplicates of living people. And Schmackle, the birth of the company was to bring peace and technology to humanity. They wanted to assimilate. How can we help humans become an even more intelligent species? So they created pretty much all robotics. They're the biggest tech company in the world. But brewing inside was a coup. The 4 billionaires, as the founders of Schmackle, had different opinions of where the company should go. And with secret underground deals with the U.S. government, they got permission to continue operations on the planet Uranus. And so on Uranus, using leverage with these underground contracts, they were able to take on seriously unethical experimentation with their technology. And so the founder of Schmackle saw that as he was being removed from the board of directors and the company was heading down a path that didn't align with his original values and vision of the company, he knew that his time was running out and that he was soon going to become a target. So he awakened 4 Proto Bros to begin a quest to shut down the company and, end the evil entity that Schmackle has become. So when you put on your VR headset, you are inhabiting the Proto Bro as a human consciousness, taking control of your robot body, discovering the secrets of Schmackle Inc., and shutting it down from the inside, the last warriors of good. That's the lore.
Whew.
Thank you. So the Proto Bro is this.
Can you give us a preview of what the Proto Bro looks like?
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm holding on.
Hold on.
I'm so fascinated. What's
Hey.
So the Proto Bro's face is modeled after my face, and he needed to look ridiculous. It's a heavy piece of metal. He's lined with bro mesh. He's got a spine of GERT fluid, ultimately strong, ultimately rizzy, and extremely masculine. This was a lot of brainstorming, and what can I say? But it's very cool. And then I wanted the game to not sound, look, or feel like any other game. So I'm like, how can I do it just different? Like, what's the weirdest looking character I can make? And so I think the Proto Bro is great because he's got this initial masculine impression, but he's forever customizable because as much as he makes up for in his one facial feature, he lacks in everything else, allowing the user to totally take on this persona. So that was kind of the idea behind it, and we ended up making a 20-foot inflatable of the Proto Bro for VidCon, and it was the talk of the town, and he had these 2 giant booty cheeks that were just magnificent.
Yeah, that community, that selfie you took with everybody in front of it was epic. That was legendary. That was so good. I was not expecting that when I showed up in Anaheim to see the 20-foot tall Proto Bro floating above the floor. That was epic. Cool, fantastic. Julian, thank you. I think we're gonna end it on the we want to end on the highest level of Riz that we've ever had on this show.
Amazing.
Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being the first podcast, the first show to go on.
Yes.
Wow.
What an honor, guys.
Awesome.
I'm really so grateful to be a part of this, and I wish you continued success, and I hope to see you guys at MetaConnect.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Anything else? Any other final thoughts or shout outs you want to give? Obviously, people know you, your YouTube, your X. Anything else you want to drop for?
Sure.
For
guys, go download Schmackle. Some amazing stuff is coming out. I can't wait to show you. Got a new song coming out very shortly, and shout out to the Curly gang for giving me this incredible life. And thank you for Meta for making the quest.
You bet, Curly gang.
Curly gang.
There you go. That's it for this episode of Pixel Pushers. Thanks, Julian, for joining us. Thanks, Deepak, co-host of the show. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.